Blazing Saddles, got separated at the time. The film, the character and the film all happened so quickly, I was not able to feel that I brought a certain creative input. I mean, I sort of did what Mel wanted to do, and it was his film, more or less. The past 10, 12 years have not been those great years of doing great roles for me. Certainly haven't. Film, I've done one major role. That was in Blazing Saddles. After that, for 3 years, I didn't get offered.
Why not?
This, I don't know. This, we can conjecture on a lot of things.
After Blazing Saddles made $119 million worldwide, its black star Cleavon couldn't get work for 3 years.
Are black men and black women getting the roles that they should get in the theater, on television? Are we making progress?
I don't know. I feel that we have a real major problem in the industry.
He discovered the devastating truth about the industry's real major problem. Black actors weren't getting the roles they deserved.
Well, I moved back from California about 3 years ago to New York because I did not feel healthy. I did not feel creatively healthy. I didn't feel financially healthy. I didn't feel personally healthy.
By 1987, the industry had destroyed his career so completely that he fled Hollywood. The same pattern that crushed Dorothy Dandridge after her groundbreaking Oscar nomination.
She should be the most successful movie star in the world. But she was a black woman at the wrong time.
What happened to Cleavon reveals Hollywood's heartbreaking truth. Talented black actors were destroyed for being at the wrong time. The tragedy of Cleavon Little began years before cameras rolled on Blazing Saddles, in the calculated decision-making process that would define not just his career, but expose Hollywood's most ruthless method of controlling black success. When Richard Pryor co-wrote the script with Mel Brooks, he created Sheriff Bart as his own starring vehicle, a character who would challenge racist stereotypes while making audiences laugh and think. But Pryor represented everything that terrified studio executives about successful black performers. He was unpredictable, politically conscious, and most dangerously, he had the star power to make demands.
What do you think that these executives are afraid you're going to do to white America?
Probably stop some racism.
Stop racism?
Yeah, I'm probably afraid of that, because then people don't hate each other, then people start talking to each other, and then they start talking to each other, they find out who's the problem.
Warner Brothers executives faced a dilemma. They wanted the commercial appeal of Pryor's brilliant script, but they couldn't risk giving him the platform that came with starring in it. Pryor might use that success to demand better roles for other black actors, challenge how racial characters were written, or worse, inspire audiences to question the comfortable racial hierarchy that kept white men in control of every major Hollywood decision. So they engineered what would become their signature strategy: the strategic replacement. Find a black actor talented enough to deliver a great performance, hungry enough to be grateful for the opportunity, but powerless enough to never threaten their authority. Cleavon Little was perfect for their purposes. A classically trained Broadway veteran with impeccable credentials, but no movie star leverage to make demands about creative control or future projects.
I never felt that I expanded it as far as it could have gone, that character. You understand?
Could you try? Could you try, or was it really no? Do what Mel says. Mel Brooks says.
I don't think I was mature enough to know how to do that in terms of film.
During filming, Mel Brooks treated Cleavon like a puppet, while white actors got to collaborate as creative partners. Brooks feared Pryor might overshadow him, but saw Cleavon as a manageable talent who could be shaped to fit their vision without causing trouble. The cruel genius of their plan worked perfectly. Cleavon's natural charisma and comedic brilliance made Sheriff Bart iconic, but he never got to truly own what he created. The executives had chosen him because they believed he would stay controllable, even after massive success. They were about to show him just how wrong he was to think otherwise. What happened to Cleavon immediately after Blazing Saddles became a cultural phenomenon, reveals Hollywood's most calculated form of career assassination. after proving he could carry a major comedy that grossed over $119 million worldwide and became one of 1974's biggest hits. Logic dictated that Cleavon should have become the most sought-after leading man in Hollywood. Instead, he vanished from significant films for 3 years, watching his hard-earned momentum evaporate while white actors with lesser talent and smaller successes landed the starring roles his breakthrough performance should have guaranteed. This wasn't coincidence or market forces. It was deliberate retaliation orchestrated by studio executives who realized they had created their worst nightmare. When audiences worldwide embraced Sheriff Bart, when critics praised Cleavon's performance, when the film became a cultural touchstone, the executives faced a terrifying possibility. A black performer whose success was so undeniable, it might inspire others to demand leading roles and creative control.
I may have stopped myself. The past 10, 12 years have not been those great years of doing great roles for me. Certainly haven't. Film, I've done one major role. That was in Blazing Saddles. After that, for 3 years, I didn't get offered.
Why not?
This, I don't know. This, we can conjecture on a lot of things.
The raw pain in Cleavon's admission about being systematically shut out exposes the industry's racism at its most brutal. Despite proving his commercial appeal and dramatic range, studios refused to cast him in leading roles, consistently choosing white actors for parts he could have dominated. They had used his talent to break the taboo of black cowboys in mainstream comedy, then discarded him once they'd extracted maximum value from his breakthrough moment. The 3-year blackout served a dual purpose that went far beyond punishing one actor. It established the unwritten rules for every black performer in Hollywood. You can have your moment of glory, but sustained success belongs exclusively to white actors. Cross that invisible line, succeed too spectacularly without explicit permission, and watch your career disappear regardless of talent, box office appeal, or critical acclaim. During those lost years, Cleavon experienced the impact of systematic exclusion. He had proven himself on the biggest possible stage, only to be told that his success meant nothing when it came to future opportunities. The industry branded him as a novelty act, rather than a genuine star, ensuring he would never again pose a threat to their comfortable racial hierarchy. Meanwhile, he watched white performers with half his talent build the sustainable career that should have been his birthright after Blazing Saddles. But this pattern of destruction wasn't new. Dorothy Dandridge had faced the same systematic exclusion 2 decades earlier when she dared to demand dignity and respect after her groundbreaking achievements. Her story revealed the template that Hollywood would later use to destroy Cleavon's career.
When Dorothy was asked about racial prejudice, she replied, "It is such a waste. It makes you half alive. It gives you nothing. It takes away."
When Dorothy spoke about racial prejudice in Hollywood, her words revealed the psychological toll of the industry's systematic racism. She understood that the constant barriers and limitations didn't just hurt careers, they made black performers half alive, destroying their spirit along with their opportunities. This was the same crushing weight that Cleavon would experience during his 3-year exile from meaningful roles. Dorothy's experience showed how Hollywood perfected their methods of control. After her Oscar nomination for Carmen Jones made her the first black actress to be nominated for Best Actress, she should have become the biggest star in the world. Instead, the industry found ways to diminish and ultimately destroy her, setting the precedent for what they would later do to Cleavon when his success threatened their authority. Just as Cleavon thought he might escape the industry's systematic exclusion, he discovered that his own community could deliver the career-ending blow that Hollywood's blackout had prepared him for. In 1979, Norman Lear offered what seemed like salvation, the starring role in Mr. Dugan, a sophisticated sitcom about a black congressman that would finally showcase Cleavon's dramatic range while addressing serious political issues through intelligent comedy. The role represented everything Cleavon had been denied since Blazing Saddles, a chance to play a complex, intelligent character who wasn't defined by racial stereotypes or reduced to comic relief. More importantly, he planned to use the platform to hire black writers, actors, and crew members, essentially creating the opportunities that Hollywood had systematically denied him and others. For the first time in years, he felt like he might regain some control over his career trajectory.
He's Mr. Dugan, Cleavon Little, hilarious star of Blazing Saddles as a football hero turned congressman. Premiering Sunday, 8:30, 7:30 Central and Mountain.
But before Mr. Dugan could even air, Cleavon faced a betrayal that completed his destruction in the most devastating way imaginable. The Congressional Black Caucus, led by politicians who had never seen a single episode, launched a public campaign condemning the show as offensive stereotyping that would damage black political representation. The accusations were not only false, but cruelly ironic. Congressman William Gray III claimed the show portrayed a silly, incompetent man ruled by his staff, when Cleavon's character was actually intelligent, dignified, and professional, far more sophisticated than most black characters on television at that time. The critics' comparison to Good Times, J.J. Walker, revealed the impossible standard black performers faced. Any portrayal that wasn't absolutely perfect was deemed unacceptable, while white actors could play flawed, interesting characters without bearing the burden of representing their entire race.
Lucky person, you got the number right, because you are talking to Kid a Dynamite!
Cleavon found himself trapped in the classic double bind that had destroyed black careers for decades. White Hollywood executives wouldn't let him transcend comedy roles or gain creative control, while his own community attacked him for accepting the limited opportunities available. The tragedy extended beyond personal destruction. The show's cancellation eliminated not just his comeback, but the jobs and opportunities he had planned to create for other black artists who were facing the same systematic exclusion. The Mr. Dugan scandal delivered a devastating message throughout Hollywood that gave executives the perfect excuse for their discriminatory practices. They could now claim they were protecting black performers from community backlash while actually maintaining their own absolute control over how black characters were portrayed and which black actors were allowed to succeed. This impossible situation had plagued black performers for decades. Even Hattie McDaniel, who broke the ultimate barrier by becoming the first black person to win an Academy Award, found herself trapped between Hollywood's limitations and community expectations in ways that would later echo in Cleavon's experience.
Or color. It is with the knowledge that this entire nation will stand and salute the presentation of this plaque that I present the Academy Award for the best performance of an actress in supporting roles during 1939 to Hattie McDaniel.
The ceremony where Hattie received her Oscar revealed Hollywood's fundamental hypocrisy about black achievement. While they celebrated her groundbreaking win with grand speeches about the entire nation saluting her performance, she was simultaneously banned from sitting with her white co-stars, relegated to a segregated table at the back of the room. The industry was honoring her while humiliating her, establishing a pattern of conditional recognition that would define how they treated black success for decades to come.
Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science, fellow members of the motion picture industry, and honored guests. This is one of the happiest moments of my life, and I want to thank each one of you who had a part in selecting me for one of the awards.
Hattie's gracious acceptance speech, thanking those who had selected her for the award, revealed the impossible position black performers were forced into. She had to express gratitude for recognition that came with degradation, celebrate an achievement that reinforced the very system that oppressed her. Her words reflected the survival strategy that black actors learned: accept whatever crumbs Hollywood offered while maintaining dignity in the face of systematic humiliation. This contradiction between public recognition and private degradation became the template for how Hollywood would treat future Black achievements. They could point to breakthrough moments like Hattie's Oscar or Cleavon's Blazing Saddles' success as proof of their progressive values, while simultaneously ensuring that these victories never translated into sustained power or opportunity for the performers involved. What made Cleavon's destruction even more heartbreaking was understanding how it connected to a broader system of exclusion that had been destroying Black careers long before his time. The methods might evolve, but the goal remained constant: ensure that Black success never threatened white control over the entertainment industry's power structure and narrative authority. Ossie Davis experienced this systematic exclusion during his prime years, when his talent and activism made him a target for the same kind of career sabotage that would later destroy Cleavon's momentum. Davis discovered that Hollywood's control extended beyond simple racial prejudice to encompass political and economic pressure designed to keep Black performers dependent and powerless.
It affected me personally in that I'm sure it denied me opportunities, and it also insulted me. I mean, that same CBS that had given me all these wonderful opportunities didn't hesitate to ask me to sign loyalty oaths. That took strong exceptions.
Davis's revelation about being denied opportunities while simultaneously being asked to sign loyalty oaths exposed the sophisticated machinery of control that Hollywood used against Black performers. The same CBS that gave him wonderful opportunities, a cynical way of making him grateful for limited roles, didn't hesitate to demand proof of his political compliance. This created a psychological trap where Black actors were made to feel simultaneously grateful for scraps and suspicious for wanting more. The loyalty oath requirement revealed how Hollywood used political pressure as another weapon against Black performers who might challenge their authority. Even those who stayed away from explicit activism, like Cleavon, could find their careers destroyed if they succeeded too independently or demanded too much creative control. The message was clear: Black actors could work in Hollywood only under conditions of complete political and creative submission.
We somehow could brave it. You see, being Black and having lived in the South with the Ku Klux Klan and people, always insisting you're a second-class citizen and a spy, the committees weren't all that strange to us.
Davis's perspective on surviving systematic persecution revealed why some Black performers endured, while others, like Cleavon, were ultimately crushed by the pressure. Having experienced racism and oppression their entire lives in the South, performers like Davis were psychologically prepared for the industry's attacks in ways that made them more resilient than those who expected fair treatment after proving their talent and commercial value. This insight illuminated why Cleavon's destruction was devastating. Unlike performers who had grown up expecting systematic racism, Cleavon believed that his Blazing Saddles' success had earned him legitimate entry into Hollywood's inner circle. When the 3-year blackout began, he wasn't prepared for the reality that his breakthrough had actually made him more dangerous to the industry, not more valued by it. Davis's survival came from understanding that the system was designed to destroy Black talent, so he could navigate its traps with realistic expectations. Cleavon's destruction came from believing that exceptional performance could overcome systematic racism, leaving him unprepared for the sophisticated machinery of exclusion that Hollywood deployed against performers who succeeded beyond acceptable limits. The contrast between their experiences revealed the cruel sophistication of Hollywood's control methods. They could destroy idealistic performers like Cleavon by exploiting their belief in meritocracy, while containing cynical survivors like Davis by giving them just enough work to prevent complete rebellion. Either way, the industry maintained control over Black representation, and ensured that no black performer gained enough power to challenge their fundamental authority. By the time Cleavon won his Emmy in 1989 for a guest appearance on Dear John, his transformation from movie star to grateful character actor was complete. The award should have represented vindication and career renaissance, but instead it highlighted just how far he had fallen from the heights that Blazing Saddles should have launched him toward.
You're gone. Theater, you have a community, you have a life, you have another home. Around, say, 4 or 5 o'clock, in real answer of your question, I know I've got to get ready to go. I know I've got to eat a certain amount of food to have some energy.
His Emmy-winning performance demonstrated that his talent had not only survived Hollywood's systematic destruction, but had actually deepened during the years of professional rejection and personal struggle. The role of a closeted gay man required subtle dramatic skills that went far beyond his comedic breakthrough, proving he had developed into exactly the kind of versatile performer who should have been in constant demand for leading roles across every genre. But the recognition felt hollow because it came too late and represented too little. Instead of celebrating a major star's continued excellence, the Emmy highlighted the waste of extraordinary talent that had been systematically suppressed for over a decade. When Judd Hirsch called him to share the moment, it revealed the respect Cleavon commanded among his fellow performers while making the industry's neglect even more inexcusable. His peers recognized his worth even as the executives who controlled casting decisions continued to treat him as yesterday's novelty act.
Theater, you're responsible for your choice. Films, you never can tell what may happen because when they get through cutting it and editing it, it becomes a different thing.
His final observations about the difference between theater and film revealed a performer who understood exactly how Hollywood had manipulated and constrained his career from the very beginning. In theater, he maintained artistic control and could demonstrate his full range of abilities without interference. In film, he had been at the mercy of an industry that never intended to let him succeed beyond their carefully prescribed limits, using his talent to break symbolic barriers while ensuring he never gained the power to threaten their control over black representation. The Emmy came at a time when Cleavon's health was deteriorating from years of stress-related conditions that were directly connected to his career struggles. The ulcers, digestive problems, and careful energy management he described revealed a man whose body was breaking down under the psychological toll of systematic rejection, financial insecurity, and watching lesser performers build the sustainable career that should have been his natural progression after Blazing Saddles.
Hold it. The next man makes a move, the next gets it.
Even his final television series trapped him in the same racial dynamics that had defined his career. True Colors cast him as a supporting character in an interracial marriage storyline that seemed designed to exploit the same racial tensions that had made Sheriff Bart famous, without giving him the leading man status his talent warranted. Hollywood was still using his appeal to attract audiences while denying him true creative control or star treatment. The Emmy represented both Cleavon's enduring brilliance and Hollywood's criminal waste of human potential. While white performers with half his talent built careers spanning decades, he had been reduced to grateful acceptance of guest appearances that showcased only a fraction of what he could offer. His story became the definitive cautionary tale about what happened to black performers who succeeded too magnificently without explicit permission from the white power structure that controlled every aspect of the entertainment industry. On October 22, 1992, Cleavon Little died of colon cancer at his home in Sherman Oaks, surrounded by friends and family, but largely forgotten by an industry that had once briefly celebrated him as a groundbreaking performer. He was only 52 years old, his life cut short not just by disease, but by the decades of systematic stress, financial insecurity, and professional rejection that had characterized his post-Blazing Saddles existence. The circumstances of his death revealed how completely Hollywood had abandoned the man whose talent had helped create one of their most enduring comedies.
They wanted us to go with Flip Wilson. And it would have been a different picture.
And then, fortunately, they found Cleavon Little, who was wonderful in the part.
His agent, Susan Smith, who described herself as his friend rather than just his representative, revealed that Cleavon had been fighting cancer privately for over a year while continuing to work whenever opportunities arose. The fact that his professional circle had shrunk to the point where his agent was also his friend showed how far he had fallen from the powerful representation that major stars commanded, while simultaneously highlighting the genuine affection he inspired in those who knew him personally. "It's not fair," Smith said simply when announcing his death. "Everyone will miss him." Her words captured the fundamental tragedy of Cleavon's situation, a beloved performer whose death felt premature and unjust to anyone who understood his true worth and the systematic barriers that had prevented him from achieving his potential. The simplicity of her statement reflected the helplessness that even his closest supporters felt when confronting an industry that had methodically wasted one of its most gifted artists.
I was very lucky to find Cleavon Little, who was a bit of a genius himself, and sweetest guy that ever lived, and very talented, very sharp, very handsome.
Mel Brooks, the director who had both discovered and constrained Cleavon's talent, offered what amounted to a devastating indictment of Hollywood's treatment when he admitted it was Hollywood's fault for not using him enough. This acknowledgement came far too late to help the man whose career Brooks had helped both launch and limit, but it confirmed what everyone close to Cleavon already understood. The entertainment industry had criminally squandered extraordinary talent out of fear, prejudice, and the need to maintain white control over black success. The posthumous honors only emphasized the hollowness of Hollywood recognition once it became safe to give. His star on the Walk of Fame came in 1994, 2 years after his death, when he could no longer challenge anyone's authority, demand better opportunities, or use his platform to create chances for other black performers. The timing revealed the industry's pattern. They were willing to honor black talent only after it could no longer threaten their comfortable racial hierarchy.
Actor Cleavon Little died Thursday of colon cancer. Little is best known for his role as the black sheriff of a redneck town in Mel Brooks' comedy Blazing Saddles.
His death received moderate media coverage, but nothing approaching the attention his contributions deserved. While lesser white performers routinely received major retrospectives and lengthy tributes, Cleavon's passing was treated as a minor footnote in entertainment history. The obituaries inevitably focused almost exclusively on Blazing Saddles, as if his career had peaked at 35, and nothing else he accomplished in nearly 2 decades mattered. This reduction of a complex, multifaceted performer to a single role epitomized how Hollywood had always viewed him, not as a complete artist capable of growth and evolution, but as the actor who played Sheriff Bart, frozen forever in that one breakthrough moment they had never allowed him to build upon. The real tragedy extended far beyond personal loss to represent the systematic waste of black talent that Hollywood had refined into an art form. Cleavon's story wasn't unique. It was the perfected method by which the entertainment industry maintained racial control while appearing to embrace progress and diversity. His death marked the end of a life that should have been filled with leading roles, creative control, and the kind of sustained success that his breakthrough performance had clearly earned. What happened to Cleavon Little after Blazing Saddles, made $119 million worldwide, reveals the sophisticated machinery of oppression that operated behind Hollywood's progressive facade. The strategic replacement of Richard Pryor, the 3-year systematic blackout, the community manipulation that destroyed Mr. Dugan, and the decades of creative suppression that followed. All of it was calculated to ensure that black success remained conditional on white approval and control. His story connects to a broader pattern that destroyed careers, from Hattie McDaniel's segregated Oscar ceremony to Dorothy Dandridge's tragic end. From Ossie Davis's loyalty oath demands to every black performer who discovered that exceptional talent couldn't overcome systematic exclusion. Each generation faced the same fundamental choice: accept limited success under white control, or risk complete destruction by demanding the respect and opportunities their talent deserved. Cleavon's legacy lives on, not just in the laughter Sheriff Bart continues to generate, but in the warning his story provides about the true cost of challenging an industry built on maintaining power through the careful management of black achievement. The sadness isn't just that a talented man died too young, but that his destruction was so methodical, so successful, and so carefully hidden that it took decades for the full scope of what had been done to him to become clear. What happened to this black actor from Blazing Saddles remains one of Hollywood's most shameful secrets. Not because it was unique, but because it was so perfectly executed that it became the template for destroying black talent while maintaining the illusion of progress and opportunity. Anyway, that's it for the video, folks. Bye.